Hello and welcome to the Super English Talks. My name is Jara and I will be your host today. If you are new here, I want to tell you something important. On this channel, we share new episodes every day to help you improve your English. Each episode is made to help you understand English better when listening, learn new words and phrases, speak more confidently. Today, we will focus on real-life English situations. These are situations you meet every day, whether at work, at home, in a shop, or when traveling. We will look at stories, examples, and conversations to show how English is used naturally. Let's start with asking for help in a store. Imagine this. Daniel goes into a hardware store. He needs new screws for his kitchen cabinet. He looks around but cannot find the right size. A store assistant comes over and Daniel says, "Excuse me, could you help me find screws that are about 2 centimeters long? I need them for a cabinet door." The assistant smiles and answers, "Of course, they're in aisle 3 on the left side. Do you also need a screwdriver?" Daniel replies, "Yes, that would be great. Thank you for your help." Notice how polite Daniel is. He starts with "excuse me" and explains exactly what he needs. This is very useful language in real life. Being clear and polite makes it easier for people to help you. Now, let's look at meeting a new colleague at work. Sarah starts a new job and meets James, who has worked there for 3 years. Sarah says, "Hi, I am Sarah. I just joined the marketing team today." James replies, "Welcome, Sarah. It is great to have you with us. If you have any questions about the office or our work, feel free to ask me." Sarah smiles and says, "Thank you, James. I might ask you later about how to log into the project system." This simple and polite introduction helps to make a good connection with coworkers. Here is a story from my own life. A few months ago, I had an important meeting in another city. My train was delayed, and I knew I would be late. Instead of staying silent, I called the office and said, "Hello, this is Jara. I am on my way to the meeting, but the train is delayed by 30 minutes. I wanted to let you know so you can adjust the schedule if needed." The manager appreciated this, because good communication is very important. It is better to explain the situation than to arrive late without saying anything. Next, let's look at visiting a doctor. Michael has been feeling very tired for a few days, so he decides to see his doctor. He says, "Good morning, doctor. I've been feeling unusually tired and sometimes feel dizzy. Could you please check if everything is okay?" The doctor asks, "How long have you been feeling this way?" Michael answers, "It started about a week ago." This is a clear and simple way to explain symptoms. Always tell the doctor exactly what is wrong and how long it has been happening. This helps the doctor give the right advice. Finally, let's see a polite disagreement in a team discussion. Anna and Robert are planning a community event. Robert says, "Let's have the event on Saturday." Anna politely replies, "I see why Saturday is a good choice, but many people might be busy with their families that day." This is a good way to disagree without being rude. You can explain your opinion and respect others' ideas at the same time. Now, let's continue with Anna and Robert planning the community event. Anna said Saturday might not be good for many people. Robert thinks for a moment and replies, "How about Sunday instead?" Anna says that is a fair point. Sunday could work better for most people. Notice how Anna disagreed politely without being rude. She said, "I see why, but," and then gave another suggestion. This is an important skill in real-life English, disagreeing politely. Another important skill is asking for clarification. Sometimes, you do not understand something, especially in a meeting. You can say, "Could you please explain that again? Sorry, could you repeat what you said about the deadline?" This shows respect and helps avoid mistakes. I remember once working with an international team. We had a misunderstanding about a project delivery date because no one asked for clarification. After that, I told myself, next time, I will always ask if I am not sure. Now, let's practice a restaurant situation. David and his wife Emma are having lunch at a local restaurant. The waiter asks, "Are you ready to order?" David replies, "Yes, I will have the grilled chicken with vegetables, and my wife will have the pasta, please." The waiter asks, "Would you like any drinks with that?" Emma says, "Just water for both of us. Thank you." This is a polite and simple way to order food without confusion. Sometimes you may need to give directions. Imagine a tourist asks you, "Excuse me, how do I get to the city library?" You can say, "Go straight down this road. Turn right at the traffic lights, and you will see the library on your left." Use simple steps like go straight, turn left or right, and mention landmarks nearby. Clear directions make it easy for someone to follow. Let's look at small talk in a social setting. At a neighborhood gathering, John meets his new neighbor, Mrs. Parker. He says, "Hello, I am John. I just moved into the house next to yours." Mrs. Parker smiles and replies, "Welcome to the neighborhood, John. How are you finding the area so far?" John answers, "It is very peaceful and the park nearby is wonderful for morning walks." This kind of small conversation helps build friendly connections with people. Next, let's see making an appointment over the phone. Laura needs to book a dental checkup. She calls the clinic and says, "Hello, my name is Laura Smith. I would like to schedule a dental checkup, please." The receptionist replies, "Of course, Laura. Are you available next Tuesday at 10 a.m.? Laura responds, "That works perfectly. Thank you so much." This is polite and simple. Always start by giving your name, then explain what you want and confirm the time. Another common situation is returning a product to a shop. Imagine Peter bought a jacket, but it was too small. He goes back to the store and says, "Good afternoon. I bought this jacket yesterday, but it does not fit me well. Could I exchange it for a larger size, please?" The shop assistant asks, "Certainly. Do you have the receipt?" Peter gives it and says, "Yes, here it is." This polite request makes the process smooth and easy. Finally, here is a real travel story from me, Jara. Last year, I traveled to a nearby town for a workshop. When I arrived at the hotel, the receptionist said, "I am sorry, sir, but your room is not ready yet. It will take about 30 minutes. Instead of getting upset, I said, "That is all right. Could you suggest a place nearby where I can have a cup of tea while I wait?" She smiled and said, "Yes, there is a nice cafe just across the street." Being calm and polite often makes experiences much better. Another useful example is asking for information at a train station. Maria goes to the information desk and says, "Good morning. Could you tell me what time the next train to Brighton leaves?" The staff member checks the schedule and replies, "It departs at 11:20 from platform 4. Maria thanks them politely. "Thank you very much. That is exactly what I needed." Notice how clear, polite, and simple this conversation is. Now let's practice talking about plans with family. David is planning a weekend picnic with his wife and children. He says, "This weekend, the weather looks nice. How about we go to the park on Saturday? We can pack some sandwiches and spend the afternoon there." His wife replies, "That sounds wonderful. The children will love playing outdoors." Using simple and positive language makes family plans warm and easy. Sometimes you need to apologize in a professional way. Imagine Sarah sends a report late to her manager. She writes an email. Dear Mr. Lewis, I apologize for sending the report later than planned. There was an unexpected issue with the data, but it is now resolved. Thank you for your understanding. A short and respectful apology helps keep professional relationships strong. Here is an example of giving advice to a friend. My friend James was nervous about giving a presentation at work. I said, James, try practicing your main points a few times at home. Keep your sentences simple and speak clearly. You don't need to rush. People will listen if you are calm. A week later, James told me, Jara, your advice really helped. The presentation went well. Another daily situation is asking for help with public services. Anna goes to the post office and says, Hello, I would like to send this parcel to London. Could you please tell me how much it will cost? The clerk weighs the parcel and replies, It will be £10 for standard delivery. Anna says politely, Thank you. That is fine. Simple questions, polite words, and clear answers make this easy. Sometimes, you may want to make a suggestion during a family discussion. Michael and his wife are talking about their monthly budget. Michael says, I think we should try cooking more meals at home instead of eating out. It will save money and we can prepare healthier food. His wife replies, That is a good idea. Let us try it for the next few weeks. Here, the suggestion is made gently and respectfully. Finally, let's look at helping a stranger. Mark is walking in the city center when a man asks, Excuse me, could you help me find the nearest pharmacy? Mark replies, Yes. Go straight for 2 blocks and you will see it next to the bakery. The man thanks him, and Mark feels good for being helpful. Small interactions like this happen every day and are part of real-life English. Let us continue exploring more real-life English situations. These examples will help you improve your listening skills and give you confidence to use English in daily life. They are aimed at B2 and C1 level learners, so you will hear natural expressions, but in a clear and easy way. Imagine you are at work and need to give feedback to a colleague. Thomas works in a team, and his teammate Laura has prepared a report. Thomas reads it and notices a small mistake in one of the tables. Instead of saying something negative, he says, Laura, I really like how you explain the sales numbers. There is just one small thing. On page 3, the date for the last quarter seems a bit off. Maybe we could double-check that. Laura smiles and replies, Thank you for noticing, Thomas. I will correct it. This is how you give constructive feedback. Start with something positive, then gently mention the issue. Next, think about asking for extra time to finish a task. Rachel is working on a project, and her manager asks if she can submit it by Friday. Rachel knows she needs 2 more days. She says, I want to make sure this project is done with high quality. Would it be possible to deliver it by next Tuesday instead? That would allow me to review everything carefully. The manager says, That is fine, Rachel. Thank you for letting me know in advance. By being polite and explaining your reason, you can often get the time you need. Now, let us see a situation where you need to handle a misunderstanding politely. Andrew ordered a meal for delivery, but the restaurant sent the wrong dish. He calls them calmly. Hello, I ordered the grilled fish, but I received a chicken dish instead. Could you please send the correct order? The restaurant apologizes. We are very sorry for the mistake. We will send the grilled fish right away. Andrew replies, Thank you for fixing it quickly. Calm and clear communication like this solves problems faster. Here's a story about asking for help when something breaks at home. Last winter, my heater stopped working on a very cold night. I called the repair service and said, Good evening. This is Jara. My heater is not working, and the temperature is very low tonight. Could someone come to check it as soon as possible? The repairman replied, "We can send someone within 2 hours." I thanked him. "That would be very helpful. Thank you." By explaining the urgency politely, I received quick support. Let us also look at giving detailed directions. Lisa is walking in the city, and a visitor asks, "How do I get to the central bus station?" Lisa replies, "Walk straight for about 10 minutes, then cross the big bridge. After the bridge, turn left at the second traffic light, and the station will be on your right next to a supermarket." Notice how she uses time and landmarks to make it easy for the visitor. Another useful example is asking for recommendations. Henry is visiting a new town for work. After his meeting, he wants to have dinner. He asks his colleague, "Could you recommend a good place for dinner nearby? I prefer something with healthy options." The colleague says, "Yes, there is a nice restaurant just 2 blocks away. They serve fresh salads and grilled dishes." Henry replies, "Thank you. I will try it." Simple, polite, and clear. Finally, think about describing a problem to a service provider. Maria's washing machine stopped working. She calls the service line and says, "Hello, my washing machine is making a loud noise and is not spinning properly. It started yesterday. Can you send someone to check it this week?" The staff member asks for her address and sets an appointment. Clear, polite, and specific explanations help service providers understand the problem quickly and give the right help. Maria confirms and thanks the service team. By giving details about when the problem started, she helps them understand it better. Now, let us look at offering help at work. Robert notices that his colleague Emma is carrying a heavy box. He says, "Emma, that looks heavy. Would you like me to help you carry it to the meeting room?" Emma smiles and replies, "That would be wonderful. Thank you." Offering help in this way creates a friendly and helpful atmosphere at work. Sometimes you need to ask for permission politely. For example, Paul wants to leave the office early to take his wife to a medical appointment. He goes to his manager and says, "Would it be all right if I leave an hour early today? My wife has an important appointment and I want to accompany her." The manager replies, "Of course, Paul. Thank you for letting me know." Being polite and giving a clear reason usually works well. Let us also look at a banking situation. Sarah goes to the bank and says, "Good afternoon. I would like to open a new savings account. Could you explain the process to me?" The banker replies, "Certainly. May I see your identification and proof of address?" Sarah gives the documents and asks questions about the account. This kind of direct and respectful conversation makes the process smooth and easy. Consider a situation where you need information about public transport delays. Mark is waiting for his bus, but it has not arrived. He asks the driver of another bus, "Excuse me, do you know if the number 12 bus is running today?" The driver says, "Yes, but it is delayed by 15 minutes. Mark thanks him and waits calmly. Asking politely like this saves time and reduces stress. Now, let us practice a family planning conversation. Anna and her husband Daniel are planning their monthly shopping. Anna says, "This month, we need to buy some extra items for the children's school. Should we go to the big supermarket on Saturday morning?" Daniel replies, "That is a good idea. If we go early, it will not be too crowded." These kinds of small but practical conversations happen in many homes. Another real-life situation is asking for clarification in a formal meeting. Emily is in a meeting, and her manager says the deadline for the proposal is the 18th. Emily is not sure if it is this month or next month. She politely asks, "Just to clarify, is the deadline the 18th of this month or next month?" The manager replies, "This month." Emily thanks him, and now there is no confusion. Asking politely for clarification prevents mistakes. Sometimes, you need to make a polite complaint in a hotel. John and his wife stayed in a hotel room where the air conditioning was not working properly. In the morning, John goes to the reception and says, "Good morning. Our air conditioning was not working properly last night, and the room became quite warm. Could you please have it checked today?" The receptionist apologizes and promises to fix it. John thanks them. Complaining politely usually gets better results. Think about sharing good news in a professional way. Peter finishes a big project at work and sends an email to his team. "Dear team, I am happy to share that our project has been approved by the client. Thank you all for your hard work and support." Sharing success like this creates positive energy and motivates the team. Finally, let us talk about asking for advice from a senior colleague. This is another important real-life situation that helps you learn and make good decisions. Jane just got promoted and has to lead her first team meeting. She goes to her senior colleague and says, "I am leading my first team meeting tomorrow. Do you have any advice on how to make it effective?" The colleague replies, "Yes, prepare an outline, start with clear goals, and make sure everyone has a chance to speak." Jane thanks him and follows the advice. Asking for guidance like this helps you feel more confident and prepared. Here is a situation of reconfirming a plan with a friend. Michael plans to visit his friend David on Sunday afternoon. On Saturday, he sends a message. "Hi, David. Just checking if we are still meeting tomorrow at 3 p.m. David replies, "Yes, looking forward to it." This simple reconfirmation avoids last-minute confusion. Sometimes, you need to express appreciation. After a neighbor helps carry a heavy bag, Sarah says, "Thank you so much for your help today. It really made things easier for me." A small thank you like this builds stronger connections. Imagine a situation where you need to politely refuse an invitation. Robert is invited by his colleague Laura to a dinner party on Friday evening, but he already has an important family commitment. He says, "Thank you so much for inviting me, Laura. I really appreciate it. Unfortunately, I will not be able to attend on Friday because we already planned a family dinner at home. I hope you all have a great time." Laura replies, "No problem at all, Robert. Maybe next time." Robert gives a reason, stays polite, and does not leave a negative impression. Now, think about asking for an update on a work project. Emily has been waiting for her teammate David to finish a report. She writes him a message. "Hi, David. I hope you are doing well. I just wanted to check if the report is ready as we need it for tomorrow's meeting." David replies, "Hi, Emily. I am finalizing it now. You will have it in an hour." This is a polite way to ask without sounding impatient. Consider a situation at a hotel reception when checking in. Anna and her husband Michael arrive after a long trip. Anna says, "Good evening. We have a reservation under the name Anna Collins." The receptionist says, "Welcome, Mrs. Collins. May I please see your ID and booking confirmation?" Anna gives the documents, and the receptionist continues, "Your room is ready. Breakfast is served from 7 to 10 a.m. Anna smiles and says, "Thank you for the information." This is a simple, formal, and friendly way to check in at a hotel. Let us move to asking for technical support at work. Peter's office computer stops working. He calls the IT department and says, "Hello, this is Peter from the finance team. My computer is not turning on, and I have tried restarting it twice. Could you please check it for me?" The IT specialist replies, "Sure, Peter. I will come to your desk in 15 minutes. Providing clear details like this helps the support team solve problems quickly. Here is a story about helping a lost traveler. Last month, I was walking through the train station when a traveler approached me and said, "Excuse me, could you tell me where platform 7 is?" I said, "Yes, go straight ahead. Take the stairs on your left, and you will see platform 7 signs in blue." The traveler thanked me, and I felt glad to help. Giving step-by-step directions like this is always useful. Now, think about ordering something online and asking about delivery. Sarah buys a new set of kitchen tools online. After 3 days, she has not received them, so she writes an email. "Hello, I placed an order on Monday for a set of kitchen tools. Could you please confirm when it will be delivered?" The shop responds, "Your order will arrive tomorrow. Thank you for your patience." This is a polite way to follow up on an order. Next, imagine a conversation with a teacher about a child's progress. Mr. Lewis, a father, meets his son's teacher, Mrs. Parker. He says, "Good afternoon, Mrs. Parker. I wanted to ask how my son, Ethan, is doing in his English class." Mrs. Parker smiles and replies, "Ethan is making good progress. He participates actively, but he needs to practice writing a little more." Mr. Lewis responds, "Thank you for your feedback. We will help him practice at home." This shows care and responsibility for the child's learning. Sometimes, you need to express your opinion in a meeting. Daniel is in a team discussion about which day to hold a workshop. He says, "I think Thursday would be better because most staff are in the office that day, and it will not clash with the monthly report schedule." His team agrees and says, "That makes sense. Let us plan for Thursday." Expressing opinions clearly and giving a reason helps others understand your point. Here is an example of handling a delayed service politely. Anna ordered a repair for her washing machine, but the technician is late. She calls the service line and says, "Hello, this is Anna Johnson. I had an appointment for 2 p.m., but it is already 3 p.m. Could you please tell me when the technician will arrive?" The operator replies, "We apologize for the delay. He will be there in 20 minutes. Anna says, "Thank you for the update." Keeping communication polite and calm makes problem-solving easier. Consider explaining a scheduled change to a colleague. James was supposed to attend a meeting at 10 a.m., but it was moved to 11 a.m. He informs his colleague, "Hi, Laura. Just letting you know the client meeting has been moved to 11 a.m. instead of 10. The location is still the same." Laura replies, "Thanks for telling me, James. I will adjust my calendar." Simple updates like this avoid confusion. Let us look at asking about someone's health in a caring way. Michael notices that his neighbor, Mrs. Evans, has not been outside for a few days. He knocks on her door and says, "Good morning, Mrs. Evans. I noticed I haven't seen you recently. Are you feeling all right?" Mrs. Evans replies, "Thank you for asking, Michael. I had a slight cold, but I am feeling better now." This kind of care builds strong relationships in a community. Another practical situation is asking for a receipt after a purchase. John buys some furniture and says to the cashier, "Could I please have the receipt for this purchase? I may need it for the warranty." The cashier replies, "Of course. Here you go." Keeping receipts is always a good habit and helps with returns or warranties. Let us also discuss confirming a travel plan with a taxi driver. Sarah books a taxi for the airport. When the taxi arrives, she says, "Good morning. I booked a taxi under the name Sarah Carter for the airport. Could you confirm it is for Terminal 2? The driver replies, "Yes, Terminal 2. We will arrive in 30 minutes. Sarah says, "Perfect. Thank you." Confirming details like this keeps everything clear and avoids confusion. Sometimes, you need to explain a delay to your spouse politely. David calls his wife and says, "Hi, Emma. I will be home 30 minutes late today. There is heavy traffic on the main road. Please start dinner without me if it gets too late. Emma replies, Thank you for letting me know. Drive safely. Clear communication like this keeps trust strong. Now, think about reminding someone about an important date. Peter tells his coworker, Hi, Lucy. Just a reminder that the presentation for the client is tomorrow at 2 p.m. Lucy replies, Thank you, Peter. I had it in my calendar, but I appreciate the reminder. Simple reminders like this are very helpful in busy environments. Here is a situation of asking for a discount politely in a shop. Anna wants to buy a set of curtains and says, I like these curtains. Do you have any current discounts or offers on this item? The seller replies, Yes, we have a 10% discount this week. Anna says, Great, I will take them. Being polite often works when asking for offers. Sometimes you may need to check on a delivery person's arrival. Mark ordered groceries and sends a message. Hi, could you please tell me when my grocery delivery will arrive? My order number is 4567. The delivery service replies, Your delivery is scheduled to arrive in 20 minutes. Mark thanks them and waits. Consider offering a seat to someone on public transport. James is sitting on a bus when he notices an elderly man standing. James says, Sir, would you like to sit here? The man replies, Thank you. That is very kind of you. Simple gestures like this create respect and kindness. Now, let us explore making a polite request to a neighbor. Sarah needs to park her car near her neighbor's driveway for a short time. She knocks on the door and says, Good evening. Would it be all right if I park my car near your driveway for about 15 minutes? I need to unload some heavy boxes. The neighbor replies, Of course, no problem. Asking first is always better than assuming. Sometimes you have to inform about a change in family plans. Michael tells his wife, The family gathering we planned for Saturday will now be on Sunday because my parents are busy on Saturday. Does that work for you? She replies, Yes, that works fine. I will adjust our schedule. Keeping everyone informed avoids confusion. Let us continue with more practical and advanced real-life English situations. These examples help you handle different moments with polite and effective communication, suitable for B2 and C1 learners. Imagine a situation where you need to request a document from an office. Laura needs a copy of her previous electricity bill for an official process. She calls the customer service office and says, Good morning. My name is Laura Mitchell. I would like to request a copy of my electricity bill for July. Could you please email it to me? The representative replies, Certainly, Laura. Could you confirm your account number? Laura answers, Yes, it is 39871. Polite and clear requests like this make office processes smoother. This simple exchange helps Laura get the document quickly. Now, consider asking a colleague to cover your work for a short time. Michael needs to step out of the office for a quick appointment. He says to his teammate, Hi, Sarah, I need to go to the bank for 30 minutes. Could you please answer any phone calls while I am away? Sarah replies, Sure, Michael. I will handle them. Michael thanks her before leaving. Clear communication like this helps teams work smoothly. Think about discussing a bill with a service provider. David receives his water bill and notices an extra charge. He calls the billing department and says, Hello, I received my water bill today, and I noticed an additional fee that I do not understand. Could you please explain it? The staff member replies, That fee is for the meter maintenance this quarter. David says, Thank you for clarifying. Now I understand. Asking questions calmly often gives quick and clear answers. Here is a story about checking into a medical clinic. Anna visits the clinic with her husband for a health checkup. At the reception, she says, "Good afternoon. We have an appointment for Anna and Daniel Roberts at 2 p.m. The receptionist checks the list and replies, "Yes, you're both booked. Please take a seat and the doctor will call you shortly." Anna says, "Thank you very much." This is a common and useful way to start a visit. Sometimes you may need to explain a problem with an online payment. Peter buys something online but does not receive a payment confirmation. He sends an email. "Dear customer support, I made a payment for order number 6785 yesterday, but I have not received any confirmation email. Could you please check the status?" The shop replies with an apology and provides the confirmation. Polite and clear requests like this are effective. Now, let us look at arranging a family gathering with relatives. Emily calls her brother and says, "Hi, James. We're planning a family lunch this Sunday at our place. Can you and your wife join us at 1 p.m.? James replies, "Yes, that works for us. Should we bring anything?" Emily answers, "Just bring yourselves. We have everything covered." This type of invitation is warm, clear, and friendly. Consider a situation where you want to recommend a product or service politely. Robert tells his neighbor, "If you are looking for a reliable plumber, I can recommend Mr. Stevens. He fixed our kitchen sink last week, and he was very professional." The neighbor thanks him for the suggestion. Polite recommendations often help build trust. Here is a moment of politely asking someone to lower their voice. Sarah is in a library trying to read, and a man nearby is speaking loudly on the phone. She approaches him and says, "Excuse me, would you mind lowering your voice a little? This is the reading area." The man replies, "Oh, I am sorry. I did not realize. I will speak quietly." This is a respectful way to handle noise in public places. Sometimes you have to explain why you missed a call. Daniel calls back his colleague and says, "Hi, Laura. I saw that you called earlier. I was in a meeting at that time. How can I help you now?" Laura explains the reason for her call, and the conversation continues smoothly. Now think about asking about opening hours. Maria is planning to visit a government office. She calls and says, "Good morning. Could you please tell me your opening hours on Friday?" The receptionist replies, "We're open from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Fridays." Maria says, "Thank you very much. That helps me plan my visit." This is simple and very useful. Another example is confirming a delivery address. John orders some furniture and gets a call from the delivery service. They ask, "Could you confirm your delivery address for tomorrow?" John replies, "Yes, it is 12 Green Street, apartment 3B. The delivery staff says, "Thank you. We will deliver it between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. John confirms and thanks them. Clear confirmation avoids mistakes. Consider asking a neighbor for assistance with a household task. Emma needs to borrow a ladder. She knocks on her neighbor's door and says, "Good evening. Would it be all right if I borrow your ladder for an hour? I need to fix a light in the hallway." The neighbor replies, "Of course, Emma. I will bring it over." Small, polite requests like this build good relationships. Sometimes you need to thank someone formally after an event. After attending a seminar, Peter sends an email. "Dear Mr. Brown, thank you for the informative session yesterday. I found the discussion on time management very useful. This shows respect and appreciation. Now, let us explore rescheduling an appointment politely." Anna calls her dentist and says, "Hello. I have an appointment tomorrow at 11 a.m., but I have a work meeting at that time. Could we reschedule it for later this week?" The receptionist replies, "Yes, we can move it to Friday at 2 p.m. Anna says, "That would be perfect. Thank you. Here's a situation of asking about service fees. Michael is planning to use a moving company. He calls and says, "Good afternoon. I need to move my furniture to a new apartment next weekend. Could you please tell me the service fee?" The company replies, "It will depend on the number of items, but the starting price is $150. Michael says, "Thank you for the information. I will confirm soon." Sometimes you need to share an update with family members. Sarah sends a message to her parents. "Hi, Mom and Dad. Just to let you know, the doctor's appointment went well and everything is fine." This keeps them informed and reassured. Consider asking for extra service politely. David is at a restaurant and says to the waiter, "Excuse me, could we please have some extra napkins?" The waiter replies, "Of course, I will bring them right away." A short and polite sentence is enough. Here is a moment of clarifying a price before paying. Anna is buying flowers at a local shop. She asks, "Just to confirm, this bouquet is $25, right?" The seller replies, "Yes, that is correct." Anna says, "Perfect. I will take it." Clarifying prevents mistakes. Sometimes you might need to explain a change in your work schedule to your team. Peter says, "Team, I wanted to let you know that I will be working from home on Friday because the internet technician is coming to fix a connection issue." His team replies, "Thanks for informing us, Peter." Let us also discuss asking someone to repeat information politely. Laura is in a noisy place and cannot hear well. She says, "Sorry, could you repeat the last part about the meeting location?" The person repeats and Laura says, "Thank you. That is clear." Simple requests like this help you avoid confusion and communicate effectively. Now, think about giving positive feedback after a service. Michael had a good experience with the delivery driver. He says, "Thank you for delivering everything on time and handling the boxes carefully. I appreciate your work." Positive words like this motivate people and create a friendly atmosphere. Consider asking for help finding an item in a supermarket. Sarah asks the staff, "Excuse me, could you tell me where I can find the baking flour?" The staff replies, "It is in aisle 5 near the sugar." Sarah says, "Thank you very much." Being clear and polite makes communication easy. Sometimes you need to inform a friend about your late arrival. Daniel sends a message. "Hi, Robert. I will arrive at the park around 4:30 instead of 4. The traffic is heavy today." Robert replies, "No problem. I will wait near the entrance." This keeps everyone updated and avoids confusion. Let us move forward with more detailed examples of daily conversations. These situations help you speak naturally, understand others better, and communicate clearly in different moments. Each example is simple to follow, but advanced enough to make your English sound confident and polite. Imagine you need to ask for a seat change on a bus or train. Peter is sitting in a seat, but he feels uncomfortable because the window is broken. He goes to the conductor and says, "Excuse me, the window at my seat is not closing properly. May I change my seat to another one?" The conductor replies, "Yes, you can move to seat 12B. Peter says, "Thank you so much. That will be better." Consider a moment when you have to ask for a refund in a store. Sarah bought a jacket, but the zipper is broken. She goes back to the shop and says, "Hello, I bought this jacket 2 days ago, but the zipper does not work. Could I get a refund or exchange it for another one?" The shop assistant checks the receipt and replies, "Yes, we can exchange it for you." Sarah says, "That would be great. Thank you for your help." Sometimes you need to give directions politely to a tourist. Emma is walking in the city when a visitor asks, "Excuse me, how can I get to the Central Library?" Emma replies, Go straight down this road, turn right at the second traffic light, and the library will be on your left side. The tourist says, "Thank you so much." Emma replies, "You're welcome. Enjoy your day." Let us talk about asking for a quiet place in a cafe. Michael goes to a cafe to work on his laptop. He says to the staff, "Hello, do you have a quieter corner where I can sit and work? I need to attend an online meeting." The staff replies, "Yes, you can sit near the back. It is usually quiet there." Michael thanks them and moves to that spot. Here is an example of politely asking for an update on a repair service. Anna left her phone at the service center 3 days ago. She calls and says, "Good afternoon. This is Anna Lewis. I dropped off my phone for repair on Monday. Could you please tell me when it will be ready?" The staff replies, "Yes, it will be ready tomorrow afternoon." Anna says, "Thank you for letting me know." Think about checking information at an airport counter. David is traveling for work and wants to confirm his gate. He asks, "Good morning. Could you tell me the boarding gate for flight 324 to Chicago?" The staff replies, "Yes, it is gate 14B." David says, "Thank you very much." Sometimes you may need to inform your manager about a delay in work. Laura sends an email. "Dear Mr. Smith, I wanted to inform you that the report will be ready by tomorrow morning instead of today. The data from the supplier arrived late, and I need extra time to review it." Clear and polite communication like this keeps work professional and efficient. The manager replies, "Thank you for updating me." Here is a moment of asking a friend to help carry something heavy. Peter says, "Hi, James. Could you help me move this table to the other room? It is too heavy for me alone." James replies, "Of course, let us do it together." This is simple teamwork and polite communication. Consider a conversation at a pharmacy. Sarah goes in and says, "Good evening. I need some cold medicine. Could you recommend something mild?" The pharmacist replies, "Yes, this syrup is good for a light cold. Take 1 spoon 3 times a day." Sarah says, "Thank you. I will take this." Now, think about asking for a missing item in a restaurant order. Emily ordered food for delivery, but one item was missing. She calls the restaurant and says, "Hello, I ordered pasta and salad, but the salad was not included in the bag. Could you please send it?" The restaurant replies, "We are very sorry. We will send it right away." Emily says, "Thank you." Sometimes you have to inform your team about a successful result. Michael sends a message. "Team, I just received confirmation that our proposal was accepted by the client. Thank you all for your hard work." Everyone replies with congratulations. Let us explore asking for help with technology. Anna cannot connect her printer. She asks a colleague, "Hi Daniel, my printer is showing an error. Could you please help me fix it?" Daniel says, "Sure, let me check the cable and the settings." After a few minutes, the printer works again. Consider a situation in a supermarket at the checkout. Laura realizes she forgot her wallet at home. She says to the cashier, "I am very sorry, but I forgot my wallet. Can you please keep my items aside while I go home and get it?" The cashier replies, "No problem. We will hold them for you." Sometimes you need to offer someone a ride. Peter sees his colleague waiting at the bus stop. He says, "Hi, Sarah. I am going in your direction. Would you like a ride home?" Sarah replies, "That would be great. Thank you so much." Here is a moment of ordering something politely in a bakery. Emily says, "Good morning. Could I have 2 croissants and a cup of black coffee, please?" The staff replies, "Sure. Would you like them packed to go or for here?" Emily says, "For here, please." Think about asking for a change in a service booking. Michael booked a cleaning service for Thursday, but he needs it earlier. He calls and says, "Hello, is it possible to change my cleaning appointment from Thursday to Wednesday morning?" The company replies, "Yes, we can arrange that." Michael says, "Thank you." Consider asking for more information about a product before buying. Sarah is in an electronics shop. She asks, "Does this laptop come with a warranty?" The seller replies, "Yes, it has a 1-year warranty." Sarah says, "That is good to know." Sometimes you have to inform a neighbor about upcoming noise. Peter is planning to do some home repairs. He says, "Hi, John. I wanted to let you know that we will have some repair work tomorrow morning. It might be a bit noisy for 2 hours." John replies, "Thank you for telling me in advance." Now, think about explaining a small delay to a friend. Laura texts her friend, "Hi, Anna. I am running about 10 minutes late. The bus was delayed." Anna replies, "That is fine. I will wait near the cafe entrance." Here is a moment of politely asking for a receipt. David pays for his groceries and says, "Could I have the receipt, please?" The cashier prints it and says, "Here you go." David thanks them. Consider asking for a seat in a crowded place. Sarah enters a waiting area and sees an empty seat beside someone. She says, "Excuse me, is this seat taken?" The person replies, "No, it is free." Sarah says, "Thank you." Sometimes you might want to share your appreciation for a helpful person. Michael says to the hotel receptionist, "Thank you for your assistance during my stay. Your recommendations made my trip much better." Let us talk about confirming a meeting location with a colleague. Peter calls Laura. "Hi, just to confirm, are we meeting at the office cafe at 3 p.m.? Laura says, "Yes, that is correct." Here is an example of politely asking someone to wait for a short time. Anna says, "Could you please wait for 2 minutes while I finish this phone call?" The person replies, "Of course, I will wait here." Consider a situation where you inform someone about a change of contact number. Emily sends a message. "Hi everyone. I have a new phone number now, 552148873. Please update your contacts." Sometimes you need to ask a teacher for extra help after class. Sarah says, "Excuse me, could you explain the grammar rule from today's lesson again? I want to make sure I understand." The teacher replies, "Yes, of course. Let us go over it." Think about asking for a discount politely in a store. Peter says, "Hello, I am buying 2 of these items. Do you offer any discount for multiple purchases?" The seller replies, "Yes, I can give you 10% off." Here is a moment of confirming a delivery time. Michael receives a call. "We will deliver your sofa between 3 p.m. and 5 p.m. tomorrow. Will someone be home?" Michael replies, "Yes, I will be at home during that time." Let us continue exploring more real-life English situations that you can practice and use. Each situation shows how to communicate clearly, politely, and confidently in daily life. These examples help you build advanced listening skills while keeping the language simple and easy to follow. Imagine you are at a bank and need to update your address. Peter walks up to the counter and says, "Good afternoon. I recently moved to a new house and I would like to update my address on my bank account. Could you help me with that?" The bank staff replies, "Of course. Please provide your ID and the new address." Peter thanks them and provides the details. This polite and clear approach makes the process smooth. Peter is at the bank updating his address. The staff asks, "May I see your ID and proof of new address?" Peter hands over the documents and says, "Here they are. Thank you." Now, consider a situation where you are picking up a parcel. Sarah receives a message that her package has arrived. At the counter, she says, "Hello, I came to pick up a parcel. My name is Sarah Brown. Here is my collection code." The staff checks the system and hands it over. Sarah replies, "Thank you very much. Sometimes you need to ask your neighbor to water your plants while you travel." Emma says, "Hi, John. I will be away for 3 days. Could you please water the plants in my garden once a day?" John replies, "Sure, no problem. I will take care of them." Emma says, "I appreciate that." Here is an example of asking for help finding an item in a store. David says, "Excuse me, could you tell me where the flour is?" The staff replies, "Yes, it is in aisle 4 near the sugar." David says, "Thank you very much. Consider reserving a table at a restaurant." Michael calls and says, "Good evening. I would like to book a table for 4 people on Friday at 7 p.m. The staff asks, "Could I have your name, please?" Michael replies, "It is Michael Harris. Thank you for your help." Now, think about informing a colleague about a schedule change. Anna sends a message, "Hi, Daniel. The meeting has been moved from 2 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. The location is still the same." Daniel replies, "Thank you for letting me know. Sometimes you may need to ask for a favor politely." Sarah says to her friend, "Could you please pick up my children from school today? I have an urgent meeting." Her friend replies, "Yes, I can do that." Here is a moment of reporting a lost item on public transport. Peter says, "Hello, I lost my umbrella on bus number 24 this morning. It is black with a wooden handle. Has anyone returned it?" The staff replies, "We will check our lost and found section and let you know." Consider a situation where you are asking for a bill in a restaurant. Laura says, "Excuse me, could I have the bill, please?" The waiter replies, "Yes, I will bring it right away." Think about asking for a different method of payment. Michael says at the shop counter, "Do you accept card payments?" "I do not have enough cash." The cashier replies, "Yes, you can pay by card." Sometimes you have to explain a delay to your husband or wife. Emma sends a message, "I will be home about 30 minutes later than usual." Sometimes you need to explain a delay. Michael calls his wife and says, "I will be home late. There is heavy traffic." His wife replies, "Thank you for telling me. Drive safely." Let us move to booking a taxi in advance. Sarah calls the taxi company and says, "Good morning. I would like to book a taxi for tomorrow at 8 a.m. to go to the airport." The company replies, "Yes, we have scheduled it for you." Here is an example of asking about a service warranty. David asks the salesperson, "Does this washing machine come with a warranty?" The salesperson replies, "Yes, it has a 2-year warranty for parts and service." David says, "That is great." Consider politely asking someone to lower their voice. Anna is reading in a library and says, "Excuse me, could you please speak a little more quietly? I am trying to study." They reply, "Of course. Sorry for the noise." Sometimes you need to clarify instructions in a workshop. Michael asks, "Excuse me, could you repeat the last step? I want to make sure I do it correctly." The trainer explains, "Yes, first you press this button, then you connect the cable." Here is a moment of arranging a repair visit at home. Peter calls the electrician. "Hello, my kitchen light is not working. Could you come tomorrow morning to check it?" The electrician says, "Yes, I can come at 9 a.m. Think about asking for information about local events. Sarah goes to the community center and asks, "Hi, are there any family activities happening this weekend?" The staff replies, "Yes, there's a picnic on Sunday morning." Consider asking a teacher about your progress. Laura says, "How am I doing in the class?" Is there something I should practice more? The teacher replies, You are doing well, but I suggest practicing your writing more. Sometimes you have to inform a delivery service about an address mistake. Michael says, Hello, my parcel was sent to the wrong street. Could you please update it to 14 Green Street? The company replies, Yes, we will correct it. Here is an example of asking a colleague for a quick review of your work. Anna says, Could you please look over this report before I send it? I want to make sure there are no mistakes. The colleague replies, Yes, I will check it now. Consider asking for a recommendation in a bookstore. David says, Hello, could you recommend a good book about history for my son? The staff replies, Yes, this one is very popular and easy to read. Sometimes you need to share your availability for a meeting. Sarah writes, I am free on Wednesday afternoon and Friday morning. Which one works better for you? The other person replies, Friday works. Let us look at asking for a service to be done faster. Peter says, Hello, I ordered this repair last week. Is there any way to complete it sooner? I really need it. The staff replies, We will try to finish it by tomorrow. Here is a moment of confirming a time for home delivery. Laura asks, Could you confirm what time you will deliver the furniture? The company replies, Between 1 p.m. and 3 p.m. today. Consider politely asking a stranger to move their bag from a seat. Michael says, Excuse me, could you please move your bag? I would like to sit here. The person replies, Of course, here you go. Sometimes you might need to thank a neighbor for their kindness. Sarah says, Thank you for watching our children last weekend. We really appreciate your help. Here is an example of asking a hotel for an extra pillow. David calls the front desk and says, Could you please send an extra pillow to room 205? The staff replies, Yes, we will bring it right away. Sometimes you need to inform a client about a successful delivery. Michael writes, Dear Mr. Brown, I wanted to inform you that your order has been delivered successfully. Please let me know if everything is fine. This keeps the client informed and shows professionalism. Sometimes you need to ask for a later checkout time at a hotel. Anna calls the front desk and says, Hello, is it possible to check out at 1 p.m. instead of 12 o'clock? The receptionist replies, Yes, that is fine. Consider asking for a repair status in a shop. Peter says, Hi, I left my watch here for repair. Is it ready? The staff replies, Yes, you can pick it up now. Here is a moment of asking for a copy of a document. Laura says, Could you please send me a copy of the invoice by email? The office replies, Yes, we will send it shortly. Consider asking a bus driver about the last stop. David says, Excuse me, is this bus going to the central station? The driver replies, Yes, it is the last stop. Sometimes you need to offer your seat to someone. Sarah sees an elderly person standing and says, Would you like to sit here? I can stand. The person replies, Thank you very much. Think about a time when you need to check in at a hotel after a long trip. Peter arrives at the front desk and says, Good evening. I have a reservation under the name Peter Collins. Could you please check me in? The receptionist smiles and replies, Yes, Mr. Collins. We have your booking for 3 nights. May I see your ID and credit card? Peter hands them over and says, Here you go. Thank you. Consider a situation where you have to ask for a document to be printed at work. Sarah goes to the office assistant and says, Hello, could you please print 5 copies of this report? I need them for the afternoon meeting. The assistant replies, Yes, I will do that right away. Sarah says, Thank you so much. Sometimes you want to thank a service provider for quick help. Michael had his washing machine repaired quickly. He says to the technician, I really appreciate how fast you fixed it. This saved us a lot of trouble. The technician replies, You're welcome. I am glad it works fine. Now let us talk about asking a taxi driver to take a specific route. Emma enters the taxi and says, Could you please take the main road instead of the highway? There is usually less traffic this way. The driver replies, Sure, no problem. Here is a moment of asking for a quiet room in a hotel. David says, Hello, I would like a room away from the street if possible. I need a quiet space to rest. The receptionist replies, Yes, we have one on the 3rd floor. It is very quiet. Consider asking your child's teacher about school progress. Laura says, How is my son doing in math class? Does he need extra practice? The teacher replies, He is doing well, but a bit more practice with multiplication would help. Sometimes you may have to clarify a payment issue on an online order. Peter writes an email. Hello, I paid for my order yesterday, but the website still shows it as unpaid. Could you check this for me? The company replies, Thank you for contacting us. We have updated the status. Here is an example of asking for a missing receipt after shopping. David says to the cashier, Excuse me, I forgot to get a receipt for my purchase. Could you please print one for me? The cashier replies, Yes, I will print it for you now. David says, Thank you very much. Sarah says, Excuse me, I think I forgot to take my receipt. Could you print it again for me? The cashier replies, Yes, here it is. Consider arranging a home service appointment. Michael calls the plumber and says, Could you come on Friday morning to fix the sink? It is leaking. The plumber replies, Yes, I can come at 10 a.m. Think about asking a colleague to share a file. Anna says, Hi, David. Could you please send me the presentation slides from yesterday's meeting? David replies, Yes, I will email them to you. Sometimes you may want to inform your manager about finishing a task early. Peter writes, Dear Mr. Lewis, I finished the client report ahead of schedule. It is ready for your review. The manager replies, Excellent work. Here is a moment of asking about parking availability. Sarah calls a hotel and asks, Do you have free parking for guests? The staff replies, Yes, we have parking available. Consider requesting a service extension politely. Michael says, Could you please extend my internet plan for 1 more month? I want to keep the same package. The company replies, Yes, we will renew it. Sometimes you need to ask your spouse for help with groceries. Emma says, Could you pick up some milk and bread on your way home? We are running low. Her husband replies, Sure, I will get them. Let us look at asking for a doctor's appointment. Peter calls the clinic and says, Hello, I would like to see Dr. Smith for a checkup. Do you have any time available this week? The receptionist replies, Yes, Thursday at 11 a.m. Here is an example of asking for clarification in a business meeting. Laura says, Excuse me, could you explain what you meant by adjusting the timeline? Do we need to move the deadline? The manager replies, Yes, we will extend it by 2 days. Consider reserving a meeting room in the office. Sarah writes, Could I book the conference room for tomorrow from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m.? The office assistant replies, Yes, it is available. Sometimes you may need to ask for a delivery to be left at the door. Michael says, Please leave the package at my front door if I am not home. Think about informing your team about a holiday plan. Peter writes, Hi team, I will be on leave next Monday and Tuesday. Please contact Anna if you need help during that time. Here is a moment of asking for a service cost estimate. Sarah says, How much will it cost to repair this laptop? The technician replies, Around $100. Consider asking someone to take a photo for you. Emma is at a park and says to a passerby, "Could you please take a picture of us with my phone?" The person replies, "Of course." Sometimes you may want to share positive feedback with a company. Michael writes, "I am very happy with your customer service. Thank you for helping me so quickly." Here is an example of asking a hotel for a wake-up call. Peter says, "Could you please arrange a wake-up call for 6 a.m. tomorrow?" The receptionist replies, "Yes, it is set." Consider asking a friend for advice about a new job offer. Sarah says, "I received a job offer from another company. Should I accept it or stay where I am?" Her friend replies, "It depends on the benefits and your goals. Sometimes you need to remind someone of an upcoming deadline." Laura writes, "Just a reminder, the application is due on Friday. Please submit your part by tomorrow. Think about ordering something over the phone." Michael says, "Hello, I would like to order 2 large pizzas for delivery to 14 Oak Street." The restaurant replies, "They will be ready in 30 minutes. Here is a moment of asking about bus timings. David says, "Excuse me, when is the next bus to the city center?" The staff replies, "In 15 minutes. Consider politely asking someone to turn down the volume. Hannah says, "Could you please lower the volume of the television? I am trying to read." This is a polite way to ask someone to reduce noise. Sometimes you may want to offer someone help carrying their bags. Peter sees a person struggling and says, "Would you like me to help you carry those bags?" The person replies, "Thank you. That would be kind." Here is an example of asking about class enrollment. Sarah says, "Hello, I would like to join the evening English class. Is there space available?" The staff replies, "Yes, registration is open." Consider asking a repair service about their working hours. Michael asks, "What time do you open tomorrow? I want to bring my car for a check." Sometimes you need to inform a friend about a small change in plan. Laura writes, "We will meet at 6:30 instead of 6 p.m. Is that okay?" Her friend replies, "Yes, that is fine." Think about asking for extra napkins in a cafe. David says, "Could I please have some extra napkins?" The waiter replies, "Sure. Here you go." Here is a moment of confirming a class schedule. Anna asks, "Are the classes still every Monday and Wednesday at 5 p.m.? The teacher replies, "Yes, the schedule has not changed." Consider asking for a replacement item. Sarah says, "This bottle is cracked. Could you replace it with a new one?" The shop replies, "Yes, we will change it for you." Sometimes you may want to share thanks for a meal invitation. Michael says, "Thank you for inviting us to dinner. The food was wonderful." Here is an example of asking for a map at a tourist office. Peter says, "Could I get a map of the city, please?" The staff replies, "Yes, here is a free one." Consider asking about internet issues at home. Emma calls the provider. "My internet has been very slow today. Is there a problem in this area?" The provider replies, "Yes, there is maintenance. It will be fixed soon." Sometimes you need to ask a child politely to clean up. Sarah says, "Could you please put your toys back in the box?" Imagine you are in a meeting at work where your manager is asking for updates. Thomas, a project coordinator, says, "Our team has completed the first stage of the project. We are now waiting for client feedback before moving to the next phase." The manager replies, "Thank you, Thomas. That is a good update. Please make sure to share the timeline with the other teams as well." Clear updates like this help everyone stay informed. Another useful example is ordering food in a restaurant politely. Emma goes to a small family restaurant with her husband and says, "Good evening. We would like to order 2 grilled chicken plates with a side of vegetables, please." The waiter asks, "Would you like any drinks with that?" Emma replies, "Yes, a bottle of water and a cup of tea, please." Speaking clearly and politely makes ordering smooth and respectful. Consider a situation where you need to remind someone about a commitment. David promised to visit his friend's new home but forgot the exact time. He sends a message. "Hello, Peter. I just wanted to confirm our visit for tomorrow. What time would be best for you?" Peter replies, "Thank you for reminding me. Let us meet at 3 o'clock in the afternoon." Gentle reminders like this help maintain good relationships. Now let us move to explaining a simple process at work. Sarah works as a receptionist and is training a new employee. She says, "First, always greet the visitor politely. Then ask for their name and the purpose of their visit. After that, guide them to the correct office or person." By breaking the task into steps, Sarah makes it easier for the new employee to understand and remember. Sometimes you need to ask for extra time to finish a task. Michael is working on a report, but the deadline is very close. He says to his manager, "Hello, I am making good progress on the report, but I need one more day to ensure everything is accurate. Could I submit it tomorrow instead?" His manager replies, "Yes, that is fine. Thank you for letting me know early." Being honest and proactive often brings better results than staying silent. Here's a situation about asking for help in a public office. Anna goes to the local municipal office because she needs to renew her ID card. She says, "Good morning. I would like to renew my ID card. Could you tell me what documents I need?" The clerk replies, "You need your old ID card, a recent photograph, and your address proof." Anna thanks the clerk and says, "Perfect. I have them with me." Let us look at a conversation during a small home repair. John's kitchen tap is leaking, so he calls a plumber. He says, "Hello, I have a leak in my kitchen tap. Could you come tomorrow to check it?" The plumber replies, "Yes, I can come at 10 a.m. John says, "Thank you. I will be at home." This is a typical example of arranging home maintenance politely and clearly. Sometimes you may need to ask for directions in a new neighborhood. Laura is visiting a town for a workshop. She stops a passerby and says, "Excuse me, could you tell me how to get to Green Street?" The person replies, "Yes, go straight for 2 blocks, then turn left. It will be on your right." Laura thanks them and continues confidently. A very important skill is offering help when someone is confused. In a supermarket, Peter notices an elderly man looking at 2 different types of bread. The man says, "I am not sure which one is whole grain." Peter looks and says, "This one is whole grain. It has more fiber and is healthier." The man thanks him for the small but useful help. Sometimes you will face delays or waiting in official places. Emma went to a bank to open a new account. The clerk said, "It will take about 15 minutes before we can assist you." Emma replied, "That is all right. I will wait." A simple positive attitude keeps the situation calm. Now, imagine asking about local community events. Maria goes to the community center and says, "Hello, I heard there are some weekend workshops for families. Could you share the schedule?" The staff member replies, "Yes, we have a gardening class on Saturday and a cooking session on Sunday." Maria smiles and says, "Thank you. I will bring my children." Let us talk about sharing important news with family members. Daniel has received a promotion at work. He comes home and says, "I have good news. I got promoted to team leader today." His wife replies, "That is amazing. We are proud of you." Sharing achievements in a simple, warm way builds happiness at home. There are times you need to check in with a friend who has been ill. Peter calls his neighbor and says, "Hello, James. I heard you were unwell last week. How are you feeling now?" James replies, "Thank you for asking. I am much better now and almost fully recovered." Small gestures like this keep friendships strong. Sometimes you need to offer to help a neighbor. For example, if you notice they are carrying heavy items or need assistance with a task, a simple offer like, "Do you need some help with that?" can make a big difference and build a good relationship. Sarah sees her neighbor carrying heavy shopping bags. She says, "Let me help you carry those inside." The neighbor smiles and replies, "Thank you. That is very kind of you." This is a simple but powerful way to use English in daily life. Consider a moment at the pharmacy. Laura goes to buy medicine for her husband. She says, "Hello, my husband has a mild cough. Could you recommend something safe for him?" The pharmacist asks, "Does he have any allergies?" Laura replies, "No, he does not." This exchange is polite, clear, and responsible. Let us imagine asking about school activities. Peter wants to know about his son's new sports club. He asks the coach, "Hello, what days do the children practice football?" The coach replies, "Every Tuesday and Thursday at 4 p.m. Peter says, "Thank you for letting me know." Sometimes you might need to explain a delay in your personal schedule. Maria was late to a family dinner. She said, "I am sorry for being late. There was heavy traffic on the way." Her family replied, "That is all right. We are just glad you made it." A simple explanation and apology keep the mood positive. There are also times when you need to ask for clarification at work. John is given a new task by his manager. He says, "Could you please explain which documents I should prepare for the client meeting?" The manager replies, "Yes, you need the financial report and the product list." John says, "Thank you for clarifying." Imagine you need to schedule a doctor's appointment for your spouse. Michael calls the clinic and says, "Good morning. I would like to make an appointment for my wife Anna with Dr. Roberts. Is there a time available this week?" The receptionist replies, "Yes, we have Thursday at 10 a.m. Would that work?" Michael says, "Perfect. Thank you very much." Sometimes you need to ask a colleague for advice on a presentation. Laura goes to Daniel and says, "Hi, I am preparing slides for tomorrow's meeting. Could you review them and give me feedback?" Daniel replies, "Sure, let's go through them together." Laura responds, "Thank you. I really appreciate your help." Consider a situation in a bookstore. Peter wants to buy a gift for his wife. He asks the shop assistant, "Hello, could you recommend a good book on cooking? I want to give it to my wife." The assistant says, "Yes, this one is very popular and easy to follow." Peter says, "That sounds perfect. I'll take it." Sometimes you need to report a problem in public transport. Sarah notices her train seat is broken. She tells the conductor, "Excuse me, the seat I'm sitting on is damaged. Could I move to another seat?" The conductor replies, "Yes, please take seat 24B. Sarah says, "Thank you for helping me." Let us imagine asking for technical support at home. John's printer is not working. He calls support and says, "Hello, my printer is showing an error code. Could you help me fix it?" The technician replies, "Yes, please turn it off and then back on." John follows the instructions and says, "It works now. Thank you for your guidance." Sometimes you may need to ask a neighbor for assistance. For example, if you need help with small repairs or moving furniture, you can say, "Hi, could you help me with this for a few minutes?" A polite request often results in a helpful and friendly response. Maria is moving a heavy box. She says, "Hi, could you help me lift this box into the car?" Her neighbor replies, "Of course. Let's do it together." Maria says, "Thank you so much." I couldn't do it alone. This is a simple way to ask for help politely. Consider asking for extra items in a restaurant. Michael orders a meal and says, "Could we please have an extra plate of salad?" The waiter replies, "Yes, I will bring it right away." Michael responds, "Thank you. That is very kind." Polite requests make communication smooth. Sometimes you need to explain a small mistake in a professional setting. Laura sends an email. "Dear Mr. Smith, I realized that the document I sent yesterday had an error. I have corrected it and attached the updated version." Mr. Smith replies, "Thank you for correcting it promptly." Simple honesty and clarity help maintain trust at work. Here is a situation where you ask for confirmation about a delivery time. Peter calls a furniture company and says, "Hello, I ordered a sofa last week. Could you confirm the delivery time?" The company replies, "Yes, it will arrive tomorrow between 2 and 4 p.m. Peter says, "Thank you for the confirmation." Checking details politely avoids confusion. Sometimes you need advice about a new product. Sarah is at an electronics store and says, "Hello, I am considering buying this blender. Can you tell me if it is suitable for smoothies?" The salesperson replies, "Yes, it works very well for fruits and vegetables." Sarah responds, "Great, I will take it." Asking for advice politely helps you make good choices. Consider asking for help when your car breaks down. John's car won't start, so he calls a tow service. "Hello, my car is not starting. Could you send someone to help me?" The operator replies, "Yes, a team will arrive in about 30 minutes. John says, "Thank you. I will wait here." Simple and clear requests make emergencies easier to handle. Sometimes you need extra guidance from a teacher. Michael says, "Excuse me, could you explain the grammar rule about reported speech again? I want to make sure I understand." The teacher replies, "Yes, of course. Let's go over some examples together." Michael says, "Thank you. That helps a lot." Asking for clarification politely improves learning. Here is a moment when you ask a neighbor to watch your home. Anna will be away for 2 days. She says, "Hi, could you please keep an eye on my house while I am away?" The neighbor replies, "Yes, I will make sure everything is fine." Anna says, "I really appreciate it. Thank you." Small requests build trust with neighbors. Consider asking for directions at an airport. Peter wants to find his gate and asks an airport staff member, "Excuse me, could you tell me where gate 15 is?" The staff replies, "Go straight and then turn right at the next corridor. It will be on your left." Peter says, "Thank you very much." Polite questions help you get accurate information. Sometimes you may need to ask a coworker for a small favor. Laura says, "Hi, could you please cover my desk for 10 minutes while I make a quick call?" The coworker replies, "Sure, no problem." Laura responds, "Thank you. I really appreciate your help." Short, polite requests make teamwork easier. Imagine ordering groceries online and asking about delivery options. Sarah calls the store and says, "Hello, I ordered some groceries for home delivery. Could you tell me if it is possible to deliver in the evening?" The staff replies, "Yes, we can deliver between 6 and 8 p.m. Sarah says, "Perfect. Thank you." Polite questions help you get exactly what you need. Sometimes you may need to request a change in a hotel booking. Michael says, "Hello, I have a reservation for 3 nights, but I would like to extend it by 1 more night. Is that possible?" The receptionist replies, "Yes, we can add an extra night." Michael says, "Thank you very much." Polite communication makes adjustments simple and friendly. Peter enters a restaurant and says, "Hello, could we please have a table near the window?" The staff replies, Yes, we have one available. Peter says, "Thank you. That is perfect." This is a polite way to request a table. Consider asking for clarification in a workshop. John is learning how to use new software and says, "Excuse me, could you explain again how to save a backup file?" The instructor replies, "Yes, first click on File, then select Backup. John says, "Thank you. That is clear." Polite questions make learning easier. Sometimes you need to ask about opening hours at a shop. Laura calls a store and says, "Hello, could you tell me what time you open on Saturdays?" The staff replies, "We open at 9 a.m. and close at 6 p.m. Laura says, "Thank you for the information." Clear questions help you plan your visit. Imagine asking a delivery person to leave a package safely. Sarah says, "Could you please leave the parcel at the front porch if I am not home?" The delivery person replies, "Yes, I will do that." Sarah says, "Thank you for being careful." Polite requests ensure your packages are handled properly. Sometimes you may want to offer help when someone is struggling with luggage. Michael sees a traveler with a heavy suitcase and says, "Do you need help with that bag?" The traveler replies, "Yes, thank you very much." Michael responds, "You're welcome. Let's carry it together." Offering help politely creates positive interactions. Here's a situation where you ask your child's teacher about homework. Peter says, "Hello, I wanted to check what homework my son has for next week." The teacher replies, "He needs to complete the reading assignment and practice spelling words." Peter says, "Thank you. I will make sure he does it." Asking clearly ensures your child stays on track. Consider asking for additional information about a service. Anna calls a cleaning service and says, "Could you tell me what is included in your weekly cleaning package?" The staff replies, "Yes, it includes vacuuming, dusting, and cleaning the kitchen and bathrooms." Anna says, "Perfect. That is exactly what I need." Polite questions make sure services meet your needs. Sometimes you need to ask politely for a bus schedule. Laura says to a bus station attendant, "Excuse me, when is the next bus to downtown?" The attendant replies, "The next bus arrives in 20 minutes. Laura says, "Thank you very much." Clear and polite questions help you travel efficiently. Imagine asking a colleague to help with a project deadline. Sarah says, "Hi, could you help me finish the client report by tomorrow morning? I have a few sections left." The colleague replies, "Yes, I will help you." Sarah says, "Thank you. That makes a big difference." Working politely together improves teamwork. Sometimes you need to ask about additional fees in a hotel. Michael says, "Hello, are there any extra charges for using the gym and pool?" The receptionist replies, "No, they're included in your room rate." Michael says, "Thank you for confirming." Polite questions prevent misunderstandings. Here is a moment of requesting an extra key at home. Peter says, "Hello, could I have a spare key for the front door?" His wife replies, "Yes, I will make one for you." Peter says, "Thank you. That will be very useful." Simple requests keep home life smooth. Consider asking politely for quiet in a library. John says, "Excuse me, could you please lower your voice? I am trying to study." The person replies, "Sure. Sorry for the noise." Polite requests maintain a calm environment. Sometimes you may want to ask for a recommendation for a nearby restaurant. Laura says, "Hello, could you suggest a good restaurant nearby for lunch?" The staff replies, "Yes, there is a cafe 2 blocks away. They serve excellent sandwiches." Laura says, "Thank you. I will try it." Polite questions help you find what you need. Imagine asking for a schedule update in a team project. Peter writes, Hi team. Could everyone share their progress by the end of the day? We need to update the project timeline. Team members reply, yes, we will send our updates. Peter says, thank you for your cooperation. Clear and polite messages help a team stay organized. Imagine you are checking in for a flight at the airport. Sarah approaches the counter and says, good morning. I have a flight to New York. Could you help me with check-in, please? The airline staff replies, of course. May I see your passport and ticket? Sarah hands them over and says, here they are. Thank you for your assistance. The staff processes her check-in and Sarah politely thanks them again. Consider a conversation at a car rental office. Michael says, hello, I would like to rent a car for 3 days. Can you tell me which models are available? The staff replies, we have a compact sedan and an SUV. Which one would you like? Michael says, I will take the sedan, please. Thank you. Clear communication helps make renting a car smooth and easy. Sometimes you need to ask for clarification on a restaurant bill. Peter receives the bill and says, excuse me, could you explain this charge? I don't recognize it. The waiter replies, yes, it is for the extra side dish you ordered. Peter says, thank you. I understand now. Being polite and precise avoids misunderstandings. Here's a situation where you ask a neighbor for help with a package. Laura sees a delivery left at her door and says, hi, could you please help me bring this package inside? It is quite heavy. The neighbor replies, sure, I will help you. Laura says, thank you. I really appreciate your help. Polite requests build good neighborly relationships. Consider asking a shop assistant for a product recommendation. Emma wants a new blender and says, hello, I need a blender for smoothies. Could you recommend one? The assistant replies, yes, this model is very popular and works well for fruits and vegetables. Emma says, perfect. I will take it. Thank you. Clear questions help you make the right purchase. Sometimes you may need to ask for a delivery time change. Michael says, hello, I ordered groceries, but I will not be home at the scheduled time. Could you deliver them an hour later? The delivery service replies, yes, we can adjust the time. Michael says, thank you very much. Polite communication ensures smooth delivery. Imagine informing a colleague about a completed task. Peter writes an email. Dear Susan, I have finished the budget report. Please review it when you have time. Susan replies, thank you for completing it on time. I will review it this afternoon. Clear and concise emails show professionalism. Sometimes you need to ask about public transportation routes. Laura is at a bus station and says, excuse me, which bus goes to the Central Market? The staff replies, bus number 5 goes directly there. It arrives every 15 minutes. Laura says, thank you very much. That helps a lot. Polite questions make travel easier. Consider requesting help when your luggage is too heavy. Sarah struggles with her suitcase at the train station and asks a porter, hello, could you help me carry this bag to the platform? The porter replies, of course, I will carry it for you. Sarah says, thank you so much. That is very kind. Offering and accepting help politely makes situations easier. Sometimes you may need to confirm an appointment with a service provider. Michael calls the hair salon and says, hello, I have an appointment tomorrow at 3 p.m. Could you please confirm it? The staff replies, yes, your appointment is confirmed. Michael says, thank you. I will be there. Clear communication prevents mistakes. Here is a conversation about household repairs. Peter calls the electrician and says, hello, my living room light is flickering. Could you come tomorrow to fix it? The electrician replies, "Yes, I can come at 10 a.m. Peter says, "Thank you. I will be home to let you in." Being polite and precise ensures a smooth repair process. Consider asking a neighbor to watch your home while you travel. Laura says, "Hi, I am going on a short trip. Could you keep an eye on my house for a couple of days?" The neighbor replies, "Yes, I will check on it." Laura says, "Thank you very much. I appreciate your help." Polite requests create trust and cooperation. Sometimes you may need help with a technical problem. Sarah calls her internet provider and says, "Hello, my Wi-Fi is not working properly. Could you help me troubleshoot it?" The technician replies, "Yes, please restart your router and see if the connection improves." Sarah follows the instructions and says, "It works now. Thank you very much." Clear and polite communication solves problems efficiently. Asking for help with a home appliance. Peter says, "Hello, my refrigerator is making a strange noise. Could you check it?" The repair technician replies, "Yes, I will come tomorrow morning." Peter says, "Thank you. I appreciate it." Being polite ensures the repair process is smooth. Asking for confirmation about a meeting time. Michael writes, "Hi team, just confirming our meeting is still scheduled for 2 p.m. today." His colleague replies, "Yes, it is. See you then." Michael says, "Thanks." Clear communication avoids confusion. Asking for directions in a new city. Laura says, "Excuse me, can you tell me how to get to Central Park?" A passerby replies, "Go straight for 3 blocks, then turn right. It will be on your left." Laura says, "Thank you very much." Polite questions help you navigate unfamiliar places. Asking a colleague to help finish a task. Sarah says, "Hi, I have a few sections left in the report. Could you help me complete it?" The colleague replies, "Yes, I will assist." Sarah says, "Thank you. That makes a big difference." Teamwork becomes easier when requests are clear and polite. Asking politely for quiet in a library. Peter says, "Excuse me, could you lower your voice? I am trying to study." The person replies, "Sure, I will be quieter." Peter says, "Thank you for understanding." Polite requests create a respectful environment. Asking for additional items in a restaurant. Michael says, "Could we please have an extra basket of bread?" The waiter replies, "Yes, I will bring it right away." Michael says, "Thank you, that is very kind." Clear requests make service smooth and friendly. Asking for assistance with computer software. Laura says, "Hello, I am having trouble saving my document. Can you help me?" The IT technician replies, "Yes, click File and then Save As." Laura says, "It works now. Thank you." Simple instructions help solve technical problems quickly. Asking a hotel for late checkout. Sarah says, "Hello, is it possible to check out at 2 p.m. instead of noon?" The receptionist replies, "Yes, we can arrange that." Sarah says, "Thank you very much." Polite requests often get positive responses. Asking a taxi driver to wait. Peter says, "Could you please wait for 5 minutes? I am finishing a phone call." The driver replies, "Yes, no problem." Peter says, "Thank you for your patience." Being polite and clear makes travel smoother. Asking a friend for advice on a purchase. Michael says, "I am thinking about buying a new laptop. Do you have any suggestions?" The friend replies, "Yes, this model is reliable and fast." Michael says, "Thank you. That helps a lot." Friendly guidance is easier to receive politely. Asking for help carrying heavy items at home. Laura says, "Hi, could you help me lift this table?" Her husband replies, "Of course, let's do it together." Laura says, "Thank you. That is very helpful. Working together makes tasks easier." Asking for clarification in a professional email. Sarah writes, "Dear Mr. Lewis, could you please clarify which version of the document you would like me to submit?" Mr. Lewis replies, "Please submit the final draft." Sarah says, "Thank you. I will send it today." Clear communication in emails avoids mistakes. Asking for confirmation of a flight time. Peter calls the airline and says, "Hello, could you confirm the departure time for Flight 342? The staff replies, "It departs at 8:45 a.m. Peter says, "Thank you. That helps me plan." Checking details ensures smooth travel. Asking a delivery person to leave items safely. Michael says, "Please leave the package at the back porch if I'm not home." The delivery person replies, "Yes, I will do that." Michael says, "Thank you." Polite instructions prevent problems. Asking a friend for feedback on a project. Laura says, "Hi, could you review my presentation and tell me what you think?" Her friend replies, "Yes, I will review it and give suggestions." Laura says, "Thank you. I appreciate your input." Friendly and polite requests make collaboration easy. Asking for assistance in a grocery store. Sarah says, "Excuse me, could you help me find the baking section?" The store assistant replies, "Yes, it is in aisle 7. Sarah says, "Thank you very much." Politeness ensures helpful responses. Asking a coworker to share files. Peter says, "Hi, could you send me the slides from yesterday's meeting?" The colleague replies, "Yes, I will email them now." Peter says, "Thank you. That is very helpful." Clear and polite requests make work easier. Asking a colleague to share files. Peter says, "Hi, could you send me the slides from yesterday's meeting?" The colleague replies, "Yes, I will email them to you." Peter says, "Thank you. That is very helpful." Asking politely for a refund. Michael says, "Hello, I purchased this item yesterday, but it does not work. Could I get a refund?" The cashier replies, "Yes, please provide your receipt." Michael says, "Here it is. Thank you for your assistance." Asking for advice about a medical concern. Laura says, "Hello, my wife has a mild cough. Could you suggest a suitable remedy?" The pharmacist replies, "Yes, she can take this syrup. It is safe and effective." Laura says, "Thank you. That helps a lot." Asking a hotel about parking options. Michael calls and says, "Hello, I have a reservation for next week. Could you tell me if you have parking available?" The receptionist replies, "Yes, we have a secure parking lot for guests." Michael says, "Perfect. Thank you for the information." Asking a colleague for advice about a report. Laura says, "Hi, I am working on the quarterly report. Could you review my draft and give me feedback?" The colleague replies, "Yes, I will check it and suggest improvements." Laura says, "Thank you. Your advice is always helpful." Asking a service center for appliance repair. Peter calls and says, "Hello, my air conditioner is not cooling properly. Can you send someone to fix it?" The technician replies, "Yes, we can schedule a visit tomorrow morning." Peter says, "Thank you. I will be home." Asking a travel agent about visa requirements. Sarah says, "Hello, I am planning a trip to Germany. Could you tell me if I need a visa?" The agent replies, "Yes, most travelers need a short-term visa. I can provide the application details." Sarah says, "Thank you. That makes planning easier." Asking for help at a supermarket. Michael says, "Excuse me, could you tell me where the dairy section is?" The staff replies, "It's in aisle 4. Michael says, "Thank you. That helps a lot." Asking a neighbor for a tool. Laura says, "Hi, could I borrow your ladder for a few hours?" The neighbor replies, "Yes, you can. Please return it by tonight." Laura says, "Thank you very much. I really appreciate it." Asking for clarification during an online class. Peter says, "Excuse me, could you explain how to solve this equation step by step?" The teacher replies, "Yes. First move the variable to one side and then divide by the coefficient." Peter says, "Thank you. Now I understand." Asking a taxi driver for a specific route. Sarah says, "Hello, could you take the scenic route to the city center?" The driver replies, "Yes, it will take about 10 minutes longer." Sarah says, "That's fine. Thank you for following my request." Asking for an update about a delayed shipment. Michael calls a courier service and says, "Hello, my package was supposed to arrive yesterday. Could you tell me the status?" The staff replies, "It is delayed and should arrive tomorrow morning." Michael says, "Thank you for letting me know." Asking for assistance at a pharmacy. Laura says, "Hello, I need a medicine for mild allergies. Could you recommend one?" The pharmacist replies, "Yes, this antihistamine works well." Laura says, "Thank you. That is very helpful." Asking a colleague to proofread an email. Peter says, "Hi, could you please check this email before I send it to the client?" The colleague replies, "Yes, I will review it now." Peter says, "Thank you. I really appreciate your help." Asking for directions in a shopping mall. Sarah says, "Excuse me, could you tell me where the electronics store is?" The mall staff replies, "It's on the second floor, next to the bookstore." Sarah says, "Thank you. That is very clear." Asking a neighbor for help with a small repair. Michael says, "Hi, could you help me fix this door handle? It's a bit loose." The neighbor replies, "Yes, I'll come over and help you." Michael says, "Thank you so much. I really appreciate your help." Asking for clarification on a schedule change. Laura says, "Hello, I saw that the meeting was moved. Could you confirm the new time?" The organizer replies, "Yes, it's now scheduled for 3 p.m. Laura says, "Thank you. I'll adjust my schedule." Placing a takeaway order at a restaurant. Peter says, "Hello, I'd like to place a takeaway order for 2 pizzas, please." The staff replies, "Yes, we can prepare that. What time will you pick it up?" Peter says, "I'll be there in about 20 minutes. Thank you very much." Asking for help with a car problem. Sarah says, "Hello, my car battery is dead. Could someone please assist me?" The roadside service replies, "Yes, a technician will arrive in about 30 minutes. Sarah says, "Thank you. I'll wait here." Asking a friend for advice about a purchase. Michael says, "I'm thinking of buying a new smartphone. Could you suggest a good model?" The friend replies, "Yes, this one is very reliable and has a long battery life." Michael says, "Thank you. That helps a lot." Asking for assistance at a bank. Laura says, "Hello, I need to update my account information. Can you help me with that?" The bank officer replies, "Yes, please fill out this form and I'll update it for you." Laura says, "Thank you. That was very easy." Asking a colleague to cover for you during a short absence. Peter says, "Hi, I have an appointment this afternoon. Could you please cover my desk for an hour?" The colleague replies, "Sure, I'll take care of it." Peter says, "Thank you. That's very helpful." Asking for confirmation about a package delivery. Sarah calls a courier service and says, "Hello, I'd like to confirm the delivery time for my parcel." The staff replies, "It will arrive between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. Sarah says, "Thank you. That helps me plan my morning." Asking for guidance during a cooking class. Michael says, "Excuse me, could you please show me how to knead the dough properly?" The instructor replies, "Yes, press and fold it gently, just like this." Michael says, "Thank you. Now I understand how to do it correctly."